Today, Layla and I are going to learn to paint with a paintbrush. It's from 10-Minute Dog Training Games, and it's on page 160 if you want to follow along. So to paint, there are several skills Layla has to have. And the first one is she has to know how to hold the paintbrush. Layla's been taught to hold things kind of laterally. Can you hold? Can you show them? Like so. Yeah, and that's not the way we want her to hold the paintbrush. So the first thing we're going to do is teach her how to hold a paintbrush and how to get it out of the paintbrush can. I have two different paintbrushes here. And this one is just a regular paintbrush, but it's got a little bit of rubber on the edge to give her a little better grip. And then this one has a T connector on it so that she can start with that lateral hold in her mouth that she's more comfortable with. So let's go ahead and watch how she does with just starting to hold the paintbrush. Okay, back up, back up. Hi, okay, so now that we have the dog picking up the brush really reliably and is comfortable holding the brush, the next thing we need to do is get the brush to the paper. And to do that, we're going to break this down because picking it up out of the bucket is a separate behavior and I want you to work that separately. So we're going to just review our hand target that we did way back at the beginning of Novice. And we're going to use our hand target to get them to the paper, and then we're going to take our hand away and click approaching the paper independently. Now Layla's a very foot-oriented dog, and I'm clicking before she actually has an opportunity to put her feet on the paper because I don't want to get pawing the paper. I want to get taking your nose to the paper because taking your nose to the paper is going to become getting the brush on the paper. When she's going to the paper on her own, I'm going to give her the brush, and I'm going to make sure I give it to her the way I want her to have it. That can be hard. So that as she's walking forward, the brush makes contact with the paper. And then I will show you her with a little bit of paint on the brush. You don't necessarily need to do that right away, but for the video purposes, I put some paint on the brush so that you could see the different ways and different pressures she's putting on the brush at the paper. I don't want to change that actually because I think it's really a lot more interesting if there's light strokes and hard dots and hard strokes on the paper when they're done. So I'm real inconsistent about what I click. I don't care as long as the brush is making contact with the paper. Good girl. Paint. 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 Nice dog. Good girl. Good. Go paint. Paint. So the last part of the trick and the last behavior is I want them to have some place to put the dead paintbrush so that they can go back and get another clean one. And I want them to keep painting until I tell them that put it down, because I don't think the dogs are really going to understand the paintbrush still has paint or not. So I'm going to teach them to put the used paintbrush in a separate pan. You can have them put it back in the same bucket, but if you'll notice, the bucket that I'm using for Layla has some gravel at the bottom for weight. Layla's a bit of a klutz, and I'm afraid that if I had her put the used paintbrush back in something narrow like that, she would knock it over and I would have paint-covered gravel everywhere in my house. And the paintbrush would go rolling as well. So I'm using actually a paint tray. And all I'm doing is I'm giving her the paintbrush and I'm holding my hand under and having her drop it into my hand, and then I'm just getting my hand out of the way so it hits here. Then I stand up. When she's actually got the idea it goes into the pan, I'm going to stand up and go back and reduce my criteria so it's just getting it anywhere near here, and I click and she'll spit it out, and increase my criteria so that it has to go in the pan. And if you need to help them a little bit when you stand up, because that's a different picture, go ahead and just put your hand under their mouth a couple of times as you tell them to drop. When they've got the idea that they just come and drop it in, you can add your cue of in the pan or in the bucket. Same things would apply if you wanted them to put it back in the original bucket. In the pan. In the pan. In the pen. Good girl. Get up. Paint. Good girl. Paint. Good girl. Good girl. Nice. Yep. Paint. Good girl. Paint. Good. In the pen. Good job. Paint. Good girl. Paint. Good. And in the pen. Good job. Now all three of these things you want to do as separate tricks and then put them all together in a chain, and we'll be working on putting it together as a chain as well this month. So at the end of the month there'll be a whole complete one. Just holding the brush and painting on the canvas counts as an advanced trick. Picking it up, painting, and putting it back is your expert level trick. So let's see how it goes and let's have fun. Yes, nice, good job. Good. Yes. Yeah. Nope. Yes. Yes, good boy.